For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. Before the Dark Times, before the Empire.
If you remain the power of the dark side,
you may fire when ready.
I'll show you the dark side. May this be honored if you will join us.
Don't worry, R2. We're going.
Back it up, Buzzsaw. But what you have there.
I am a Jedi, like my father.
Welcome back to Blah Wars, mate. We're back home, cozy. It's fucking 6:20 a.m. on Sunday.
I don't know about you, John. I couldn't do a morning show on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
Flipping heck.
You have to get up at something like 3, don't you? If you
3 a.m.
Well, if you're
wander down into London town.
Yeah, you're sort of at the studio for sort of 6, so most people are sort of up by 4 and 3-4ish.
I've watched Chris Moyles live on his Instagram.
You poor bastard.
I know, right? On his Instagram, he gets up, he does his morning commute, he gets into the studio with a minute to go before the show, takes his coat off, walks straight in, picks the mic up, starts going. That's pretty confident.
I think he might have just been doing that for Instagram Live to look cool. Because I don't believe for a minute that Chris Moyles is that disorganised. How come he lost loads of weight? Did his wife leave him or something? He was.
Was he married? He was basically. And
then he kind of lost his job on Radio 1.
No, he was losing weight before that, I think. He went off to do some acting.
Right.
At a play in London. He might have been Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, if you're into that.
I
don't know why we're promoting him. Forget it. Don't listen to that crap on Radio X.
But do listen. I'd like to give a shout out to somebody who recently is on Instagram. I've recently found this out.
Oh, yeah.
Massive, huge Star Wars fan, and someone I've been following. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of YouTube and the whole vlogging thing. However, a couple of years ago, I found out about this guy on YouTube. I just kind of stumbled across one of his videos, yeah? And how can you describe him? He's a lo-fi haircut. He's got actually. He won an award for that recently, which you can find out
his
about.
Hair?
Yeah, through
in GQ magazine?
Not in GQ, but worth checking out. It was a Pittsburgh kind of local award or something. But you got to check it out. Anyway, so yeah, Weird Paul Petrosky. Weird Paul is on YouTube. I discovered him because he does these kind of thrift store haul videos where he goes to thrift stores and over a period of a month he'll sort of buy various kind of odd things and then he'll showcase them all off. And he pretty much collects anything and everything. So you think of a thing...
Any genre.
Magnet, buttons, badges... little Lego men, key rings, records,
what's his house like?
This is the thing. I'm
is it
pretty
like a
sure.
Hoarder's house?
I don't think it's like a hoarder's house, but he's got
creating tunnels.
Yeah, I think he's got
stuff.
loads of shelving and rooms of shelving and whatever. But he's a massive, massive collector of seemingly everything. He rightly claims himself as the original vlogger because in the very early 1980s, when his family first got a video recorder. He basically did a kind of talking to the camera vlog, showing the camera a McDonald's breakfast and like literally going through and describing all of the individual pieces.
We just went to McDonald's and got a McDonald's breakfast, okay, and this is what they looked like. Yum. Okay.
Wow, that must be a fascinating watch now.
Yes,
considering like it's kind of like a time capsule.
Yeah, and he's said in interviews, right, that this stuff was of no interest to anybody at the time, like to his friends or anything like that. When he was a little kid,
Yeah.
Nobody was interested in watching a video of him or listening to audio tape diaries of him or anything like that. But of course now it's entertaining because of the nostalgia involved and whatever.
Has he got those? He got those old video tapes up on YouTube.
Everything he has pretty much is on YouTube, and I mean we're talking about a guy who's kept fantastic diaries and kept sort of pretty much everything on video or audio. His whole childhood is more or less documented on this.
Wow.
And so you can go through and check out his videos, but there's so many kind of Star Wars related ones where he's basically just showing off his collection. So if you thought it was fun to watch Jude and I going through your collection...
my pathetic
your little
collection in comparison to this guy.
That if you want more of that, basically check out Weird Paul's YouTube channel. It's literally Weird Paul P. That's the username. But if you type in Weird Paul, you'll find some of his videos there. When I say some, I mean he's literally got thousands of these, and he's also a recording artist. He's been making music since about 1982 when he was very, very young. Has done over 50 albums under his belt, including compilations.
50 albums.
50 albums of his own material under his belt.
Better than the Beatles.
That is better than the Beatles. In fact, it's better than most. It's almost to rival Dylan or Marky Smith of The Fall or something like that. Yeah, as a body of work, that's really impressive. And I got in touch with Paul and said, would you mind if we put a couple in the show? And he said, absolutely cool with me. So we're going to stick in a couple of songs. So I thought I'd like to play this song, which is Please Don't Break My Atari.
Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. I had my Atari for quite a bit. I still have the original combat game that came with it. Computer switch has a loose wire, but just jiggle it a little bit and we can still play Dragon Fire. I don't like to brag about my past, but I scored 890,000 points on Laser Blast. Don't let my effort be in vain. Don't let my effort be in vain. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. I know you were just 5 points from your high score, but please put down my system now, cause I won't take any more. Don't do anything that you'll regret. Don't step on my joystick, cause then I won't have a set. My Pac-Man cartridge might not be new, but my mom paid $50 for that way back in 1982. I don't wanna see it get smashed. I don't wanna see it get. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. If you break my Atari, then you'll break my heart. If you break my Atari, then you'll break my heart. You're gonna be sorry. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry. Yours revenge is due for Atari. Have you played Atari today?
Is insanely catchy. I've had that. I mean, I obviously I first heard that song maybe about 3 years ago, I think. It some days it just gets stuck in my head without even hearing it. Like it'll be in my head all day long. And yesterday I cycled to Guildford from where I live in Fleet, 17-mile cycle. All the
only motivation
all
was
the
that
way
song.
there. Please don't break my Atari or you're gonna be sorry.
Heck,
all
mate.
the way there. So just in my head, playing in the background. So
like you got tinnitus.
yes, it was Weird Paul tinnitus. So shout out to Weird Paul. Thanks for all the fantastic videos. I have them on when I'm working. When I'm like coding in the day, building websites, I have them sort of playing in the background on like a second device, so I can glance over and see him going, today I found these amazing records, or I found this VHS tape. The weirdest thing is, I don't know what sort of thrift stores are selling this, but he goes in thrift stores and he finds old family photos from just random families. So he's got.
That's weird,
imagine like being a box of like photos of Jew, Polly, and Jesse, and whatever, all in a shop, in a vintage store.
No.
You know. And he also finds like notes and like letters that have been written by a girl and passed to another girl in classroom or whatever. These are all on sale in thrift stores in the States.
Yeah, do you know Shoreditch Market?
Yeah,
there's a whole stand that does that.
Really, I didn't know you could get hold of that stuff
family.
Here.
Yeah, and Leon, you know Leon?
Yeah, what the food chain?
Yeah, they bought a bunch,
right?
Popped them up and framed them, popped them in their restaurant.
Oh, I see.
I popped down for a coffee and a bat.
Yeah,
sitting there, look over. Oh, great! It's Grandma's pubes busting out the side of her swimming costume. Didn't need to see that. Put me right off my batty.
What was your grandma doing in Leon with a swimming costume on, mate?
It wasn't my grandma. It looked like
I know.
But I was like, what the heck is that? So,
good. That's
weird, that, isn't it?
That's very good,
Who's
mate.
collecting that? Imagine that was your collection. I bet there's people out there. Other people's grandmas. Flip the neck.
Oh God, that's good. But Weird Paul is also on Instagram, so do check him out. And you can find all his music on Bandcamp. If you look for Weird Paul Bandcamp on the internet, you'll find more. We'll stick another song on the end of the show, I think. He's even got a song called "Used to Bullseye Romp Rats."
Right, so that's the one that he wanted us to play as well, but we ain't going to play that.
We'll stick it in. We'll stick it in the show now. Why not? We'll cut it in now.
I used to bullseye walk rats. I used to bullseye walk rats. I used to bullseye walk rats. When I was back home, I used to bullseye walk rats. Sure I did. I used to bullseye walk rats. You know I did. I used to bullseye walk rats. When I was back home, big ass walk rats. I used to stomp rats. Stomp rats into the ground. Big ass walk rats. I used to stomp rats. Stomp rats into the ground. I used to bullseye walk rats. I used to bullseye walk rats. When I was back home, I used to bullseye womp rats. I'm tough, I used to bullseye womp rats. I used to bullseye womp rats. When I was back home, big ass womp rats. I used to stomp rats. I used to stomp rats into the ground. Big ass womp rats. I used to stomp rats. I used to stomp rats into the ground. I used to bullseye womp rats. Used to bullseye womp rats. I used to bullseye womp rats. When I was back home, I used to bullseye womp rats. I used to bullseye womp rats.
Okay, so thanks, Weird Paul. Thank you very much for all the vids and fun.
Jeremy Bullock.
Yes.
He's retiring from the circuit, mate.
Right, so everybody's
hanging up the helmet.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad last year we got that interview.
I am too. No, I've met him twice, right? Or maybe 3 times. Last year, he did seem quite distant. Apparently, someone said they were having lunch with him. This was on some sort of Star Wars collectious group or whatever. This was about 6 months ago. They were having lunch with him and his wife, and they had to remind him where they were like 5 times or something like that. So he's
really?
it sounds like he's like going a little bit senile, which is really sad.
He had his wife with him. He had his wife with him at London Film Comic Con, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, but that's sad to know. I mean, like, so is it over now? He won't be doing any more.
That's it.
Okay.
It's time.
Well, to be honest, if you've not met Jeremy Bullock before, like, what conventions have you been going to? Because he pretty much used to go to every single one. Like, he's very much like Dave Prowse. He's like the guaranteed guest who always turns up. But
we need some new guests. We're gonna have I don't know.
Do you think there'd be a next?
Daisy Ridley would never turn up. She will in 5 years' time when she can't get another job.
We've got a mutual friend called Joe,
Typecast.
haven't we? We won't say her surname because we don't know if she wants to be mentioned or whatever.
Yeah.
Turns out, and I didn't know about this, and she's never talked about this with us. I mean, well, with me anyway. Her sister is only a bloody stunt woman for films like The Avengers and Wonder Woman and The Last fucking Jedi.
I've known
and
about
Solo.
this for years, and I've never mentioned it. I don't know why.
I'm thinking, why haven't we not given this lady a call?
I didn't realise she did stuff on Star Wars. I thought it was all Avengers.
She's done Last Jedi and Solo, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's footage of her running along beaches, jumping onto boxes and diving off very impressively and rolling all over the place and whatever. And then you see the actual final cut, and she was actually on leaping over a horse or something once they put all the CGI in.
Monday morning, I'm going to go up to Joe and say, get your sister involved in our show. Tell your sister.
Tell your sister. Literally tell your sister.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Cool. Well,
that sounds amazing.
We should do. So stay put for that. We've also got a bit of... I'm not even going to go into detail at all, mate. I'm just going to tease it. Just going to stick the tip in.
Justin. So.
November. London. Just keep your diaries free, kids. That's all I'm saying. November, London. Keep the diaries free.
Look, if we're going to dedicate that diary entry, we need some dedication from our listeners.
We basically need you guys.
We need you.
Something might be happening in London in November. We need you guys to come along. And that's all I'm going to say for now, because I don't want to jinx it. Not that I'm superstitious or anything, but we've got a few phone calls to make and stuff. Okay. Do you want to tell us a bit more about some Star Wars news?
Yeah, right. J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
He's been taking pictures, episode 9.
There's the one picture, you mean?
One
picture. A really blurry picture through a camera with thin.
But you know, right. But
with a new
do you know
costume.
what's interesting about... No. Is it a new costume?
Yeah, he's got like a little Han Solo vest on.
Right,
Look like a new outfit to me.
They're in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Millennium Falcon, yeah.
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I can't talk. Flipping out, mate. What is it? It's 6:30 in the morning. It looks like Rey's flying it.
I can't see anything apart from...
Oh, mate. She's sitting down in the cockpit.
John Boyega and his new...
Oh, you can see Rey.
Okay, all right.
She's holding onto the controls.
Okay,
it looks
good.
like she's wearing the same costumes, which is why I thought, hang on.
Is this set immediately after the last film?
Right. That was my immediate thought. Yeah. But yeah.
Right. At the moment, right, the news is awash with just fucking sites, fanboy sites, spreading rumours.
Anything.
Yeah, pretty much anything they can think of. Yeah, just to get clicks. And, the articles, especially with the tabloidy ones, it's about 90% of the article is just a setup. Right. Reminding you of what happened in previous Star Wars movies. And then they've got literally a one-sentence review saying, but in a new film, Jabba the Hutt's son might be in it. Right. We'll find out in 2019 December. It's like, that's not fucking news. That's not fucking journalism. And you know what? By going there and reading that shit...
Is it the Sun newspaper by any chance?
No, I'm talking about generally. I'm talking about generally. Loads and loads of these fucking sort of online tabloidy sites, a bit like MovieWeb, full of adverts. By going there and reading that, you're basically funding them. And they don't even pay their fucking writers. Ads. They just pay... Their writers are just like fanboys who write in and go, I want to become a journalist. So if you want to become a journalist, why don't you... write to the Guardian or something and see if they might actually pay you for your work. Yeah. A lot of work in journalism is unpaid, though. I do understand. So
really,
you kind of have to sell yourself cheap,
like a prostitute.
You kind of, and then if you can get demand. I remember I went to a course about it.
A wordsmith whore.
Yeah, I went to a course about it once, and they were talking about how. Anyone can basically write a news article. You can an opinion piece. You can get in touch with a paper and say, "This is what I think about this, and this is my angle on it." And if they run it, the fees kind of there's potentially a fee there. But I don't know. A lot of these places just do Den of Geek, they don't pay their writers. I mean, there are some that are more senior ones that obviously are paid, but the average writer on there is just, Joe Blogs. People like us, basically.
I imagine, but I imagine there's a few listeners that are writers now. Their hearts are sinking, their dreams are popping.
Well, no, I'm just saying,
forget it.
These websites like MovieWeb and whatever, where there's no exclusive story and it's all just keyboard. I've read this on the forums. That's not journalism, is it?
I was doing that when I was 12 in maths.
Yeah.
About
well, that is the
what's
state
happening in
of
episode 2.
Yeah,
just making it up.
That's the sort of state of the news scene at the moment. So we're very short on it. We're very
We are a
short.
little bit.
Did
We are a
you
little bit.
hear that the original writer of Rogue One has opened up about the original ending to the film?
Okay, this is interesting because I had a little bit of news about Rebels that ties into this, but go on.
So Gary Whitta, who wrote Rogue One, originally his ending involved, the beach scene at the end where you see there's loads of footage in that trailer of the 7 rebels running along the beach and whatever, they're dodging the bullets and whatever. So apparently, in his original screenplay, there was Darth Vader on the beach with his lightsaber out, furious because of all the sand, chopping down rebels and taking out, pulling X-Wings out the sky using the Force, having this big, bombastic war scene.
It's almost too much.
Okay, well, obviously that would have been exciting at the time. However, they dropped it in favour of the more sinister and reduced corridor scene, which I actually think is not only is it better, but it's one of my favourite moments in the Star Wars films ever. And that's from if Disney have anything to be proud of from their takeover of the franchise, it's got to be Rogue One, and it's got to be particularly that last third of Rogue One, which is probably one of my one of the best 40 minutes from any Star Wars film.
It's the best film I think they've done.
Oh, but we talked about this in another episode, but
so good.
It is. It's well beyond.
It's so good.
What everybody expects.
That's
the original ending.
Well, the thing that I've read recently is that there's nothing to do with that. The original idea for Rebels, Filoni's come out and said at Comic-Con, was all about gearing up to steal the Death Star plans.
Oh, right? So the whole series was meant to build up to that.
Right, yeah.
It's a prologue to the movie, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
4 years of setup. It's like the Johnny thing again.
When they start...
Can we talk about Johnny?
Go on.
I saw this on BBC News a couple of years ago. There was this event called Feel the Force Day, and basically it was a Star Wars convention aimed at deaf and blind people, children and adults. Not both, but obviously people that are deaf and blind, people that are blind, people that are deaf, disabled people. And what happened was, the idea was you could go along and you could, if you were blind, you could actually touch stormtroopers, Darth Vader, stroke Chewbacca, that kind of stuff, and you could basically interact with the world through sense. That was the idea. Anyway, but there was
a lovely idea.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and you can see the BBC News footage. It's lovely. Now, there's a bit in the news. There's a kind of video, the news video summarising the day, where they interviewed one of the organisers of this, and he is a carer or assistant to a guy called, I think it was Johnny. Now Johnny, he's like a 50-year-old guy. He's deaf and blind. Presumably he's been deaf and blind since birth. He communicates exclusively through having his hand tapped, or his thumb squeezed, or his palm tapped and whatever by his assistant. And basically his assistant is a massive Star Wars fan. Imagine just being friends.
Johnny had no choice. Johnny had no choice.
So basically the assistant
about Star Wars again
has been teaching about Star Wars through the medium of tapping his hand and touching his thumb. 1 for yes, 2 for no, that kind of thing. It's taken 9 years, okay? 9 years to tell him about Star Wars, and then the carer looks at the camera. Yeah, he's just saying, He says, I've got to teach him what's real, what isn't real, what space is, what planets are. He's deaf and blind, okay? Trying to explain in colour to someone who's deaf and blind via the medium of squeezing their fingers, okay? Seems a bit difficult. Now ramp that up to the entire Star Wars universe.
That's incredible.
Everything.
What an incredible effort.
9 years, and then he looks at the camera and goes, we haven't got onto the stories yet. 9 years setting up the premise, mate.
Wow.
That's that's the longest pitch ever. But I'm worried now that guy is bitten off more than he can chew, because not only has he got to go through the original 3, he's got to go through the prequels, he's got to go through the sequel trilogy, which will probably be finished and covered in dust by the time. Yeah, I hope he does. But I mean, like, Christ, the mammoth task that guy has. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I'll teach Johnny all about Star Wars. He might find that interesting. Johnny becomes a huge fan, probably because all day long his carer's not talking about anything other than Star Wars to him via the medium of
Johnny doesn't
touching the
realise
things.
that he thinks it's real life.
No, he knows it's fiction, but Johnny knew things which was quite interesting. That he knew a lot about history, but he didn't know. It's just little things he didn't know. Like, for example, Johnny, even though he's deaf and blind, knew who Elvis was and knew Elvis's impact on rock and roll and all that kind of stuff. However, he had no idea that Elvis had died. No one has told him that.
Really?
So he kind of knew a little bit about, you know what I mean? Like, he knows basic things about he knows about things in detail, but there's so much stuff he doesn't know about because no one's actually had the inclination to tell him. And I suppose because you can't go and read that for yourself, unless of course he can speak Braille or he reads Braille. But yeah, I find that absolutely mind-boggling. And but yeah, it was a bit. Dedication, it just reminded me of that. What you were saying about Rebels taking 4 years to germinate, and to sort of set up Rogue One. It reminded me a bit of the.
Well, this is before. That was before Rogue One.
I know it came out before.
Before it would have been the whole story, but they scrapped it in favour of Rogue One, I think.
It's
But I couldn't do it, mate. I couldn't do it. No matter how, that's charitable and then some, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder if he describes every single scene. Like, it's like.
No, he hasn't got onto the stories, mate. Forget the scene. I mean, like, they haven't even got into the plot yet. So he's basically setting up the characters who's who, but he's not actually giving any story outlines. This guy doesn't know. I think we should do that
on the show.
Don't tell Johnny. #, don't tell Johnny.
Don't hashtag
Luke
that.
Skywalker is Darth Vader's son. Don't tell him that. It's like, for Johnny, the spoilers are still out there. Nobody's going to spoil that for him.
What an amazing
I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried if Johnny will be able to take it. Because imagine when he finally gets told.
# don't tell Johnny. What do you mean?
Like, don't be, sort of like a spoiler warning. It's like
what people running up to his hand in the street and quickly.
At least he's safe from
quickly
spoilers.
Tapping a spoiler on his phone.
This week, all over Twitter went into meltdown, right? Because a very small section of Twitter went into meltdown because some fucker put a picture of the new TARDIS set from Doctor Who out.
Yeah, that looks like Superman 2.
It looks like Superman 2 mixed with... what did my girlfriend describe it as? She said something looked like a shit child's play area or something like that. I can't remember her exact terminology.
The designer of that show... is sacked.
The new sonic screwdriver, people say it looks like a dildo. I say it looks like a turd, mate. It's a silver turd. It's really curvy, and it just looks like something that comes out your ass rather than goes in your ass. So,
next.
Standard
Star Wars bands.
Have you got any other news you want to talk about?
Only Sknit, however you say his name.
Yeah.
It's not really news, not really Star Wars related news. But it kind of is at the same time. And you might have... well, when I heard about this, I thought, if anyone knows about this, John will. So I was in Starbucks the other day, right?
Right.
And I go up to the counter. You know they write your name on the cup?
Yeah. They do. Scarif. Yeah.
She said, yeah, right. So she said, what's your name? I went, Jude. She went, Jack. I went, no, Jude. She went, Jay. I went, right, no, Jude. I went, right, Jay. She went, yeah. I went, you. She went, yeah. D, yeah. E, yeah. Cool. Got to the end of the counter, Jazz. Right?
Fucking hell.
Flipping heck, man. Like, how many I'm dyslexic, but that's another level. Anyway, I took a picture of it, popped it on Instagram stories, and I was like, oh, the thing is, she put a question mark at the end, which annoyed me. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
as
want me
if
to do?
she-
Down my cup, get a Sharpie out and write no, give it back to her.
Give it back
Flipping
with a
heck.
grade on it.
Right.
-D, must try harder.
Right, exactly.
Poor effort.
Flipping heck.
Jesus.
Anyway, I popped that on Instagram. Sknit got
Maybe
in.
that's why she's working in Starbucks. No offense to anyone out there that works
Right.
in Starbucks, but
Yeah.
if you can't understand letters,
The
that
worry,
you're
no,
being
but I know this for a fact. The
spelled out
worrying
to
thing,
you.
most of them are students doing degrees, and
Yeah.
this place so happens to be opposite a hospital. So good luck to all of us in future, mixing up medicines. What's their name? What's the patient's name? Jack J. All right, just give him those meds. That's fine. Right. Anyway. Sknit got involved. That's how you say his name. I can never
I
pronounce
don't
it.
bloody know. I
Flipping heck.
still don't really know. Snick. It's the sound that Wolverine's claws make when they eject. So
Yeah.
whatever that sound is, whatever that is, that's his name. He's the
Right.
guy that does the Lego Star Wars things. We've all seen him.
Right, well, they put jazz. They put jazz on my on my cup, and I popped it on Instagram. Snit sent a reply back, and I thought, juvenile. It was going to come. He went, could have been worse. I went, go on. He went, could have been jizz. And I went, brilliant.
Which is
right. Which is
the jizz
jizz.
is
Right, okay,
actually
here we go.
something from Star Wars,
There you
which
go.
a lot of
Which
people
is
don't
what
know
he-
about.
Well, he educated me on that. Do you want
Yeah.
to take it from here?
Well, yeah, the genre of jazz, if you like, space jazz, that the Mos Eisley Cantina band play, that's Figure and Dan's Shufflers, whatever they're called. Their genre of music is jizz.
Yeah.
They
Why are we giggling
they
like
have these
children?
songs called like the Biff Skiffle and all that kind of stuff, but it's called jizz. And there's a whole page about jizz on Wikipedia. If you go
Brilliant.
if you go on Wikipedia and you type jizz, or just go into Google Images and type jizz, JIZZ, and see what comes up. Maybe some pictures from Star Wars will come up. Maybe some other pictures will come up.
Maybe.
Somebody got in touch saying, I don't know what they were doing. They were looking around for pictures of us or something like that.
Right, that's
they were
weird.
getting in touch
Why
for
is that-
some
why-
reason.
why are people
I
doing
can't
that?
remember. It was a legitimate reason. They wanted to do a sort of promotion on their Instagram page. They got in touch and they asked me a question about blah. Was I'm sorry, I forgot what it was, and I answered it. And he said, also, for your information, don't Google Jude Gay. Because of presumably
What?
all the stuff that comes up in the images.
Right.
Because he was obviously looking for a photo of you for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But,
Right, whatever.
But he'd
Like, what
obviously
happened
searched
was-
Jude Gay
This
and
is
come
what
up
happened.
with.
He's sitting there, he's typing in, he's just typed in gay onto, his wife's caught him and she's gone, what? And he's gone, oh, no, no, Jude Gay. I was looking for Jude Gay. It's not a legitimate reason. Thanks. I love being everyone's excuse for that filth.
We said a long time ago we were going to do an episode dedicated to Star Wars porn parodies
Were we?
and like
So,
do
don't
a
remember signing
commentary.
up to
And
this.
well, I think we should get like 10 minutes of footage from different films and whatever, and just glue it all together and then do like a commentary about it or rank each one.
I'm not going to do that.
There's
Off
at
the
least
bat
there's
now.
at least
I'm
there's
not
at
gonna
least
sit
like
there and do
20. Yeah, but I'm talking about they're all. You can rate them on the level of detail it goes into, because some of them have got really lovely
Sorry,
sets
what?
and authentic kind of costumes and whatever. Some of them just look terrible. It's like a cardboard hat, you know. So
Maybe that's a show for you and Raj. I'm a happily married man with kids. Not into that filth.
I'm not saying we sit around with our knobs out wanking degrading pornography. That's a different show. That's the Chris Moyles show, mate.
Suddenly
listen,
we've got
good
50,000
callback,
listeners
good
go
callback.
back to Moyles. Go on.
I genuinely think we should do a genuine inquiry into the relevance
around
of Star Wars
what
pornography.
knocks
And also, I don't know, are they keeping up to date? Are they doing the new movies? Are they?
Right.
Do we have like Ray and Finn interracial fun going on? That kind of stuff.
Is that a category?
Well, it's in Star Wars porn, but it's also in interracial
So,
as well. Luke and Leia,
Political correctness.
you've got incest there as well. I mean, there's so many subgenres inside Star Wars pornography.
that's,
And do Star Wars fans watch it, or is it the I mean, they're so bad. You can't anything that's parodying whatever. You can't really take seriously anyway.
Right.
But I mean, all pornography is
can't be as
is
bad as
pretty cringy and awful.
can't be as bad as that Life Day special.
Oh, the celebration! Yeah. The what do they call that? The
Life
festive. The
The Christmas special. Star
yeah,
Wars
Life
Christmas
Day.
special.
No, it's not the Christmas holiday special. That's what
Holiday
it's called.
special, yeah.
The holiday special.
Which people
but-
get confused about, by the way, on Instagram. Every time Christmas rolls around, people are like popping that up like it was a Christmas.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Exactly. Do your fucking research, kids. It's the Thanksgiving. It's a turkey one, as we've talked
the
about
turkey
before.
one.
It's only because in the UK we don't have Thanksgiving, and therefore the only thing that happens around that time of year that's remotely interesting is Guy Fawkes Night, something we're doing in London, and also Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
So
Just want to apologise now.
Stay
You might be
tuned.
able to hear my other half and my son running around getting ready for breakfast. So
that's all right.
Background
What time's
noise.
breakfast, kids? We can wrap it up
time?
now if you want.
What
We've
is the
done a
time?
show. It's 7
7
o'clock.
o'clock. That's all right.
7 o'clock
I was
sharp.
just getting
Well, that's
going.
good. We got a show in the bag. We'll get Weird Paul to play us out.
Yeah.
I've been John Galantini.
I've been Jude Gay. Don't Google it.
And may the force be with you. Bye.
Bye.
One of my favorite movies.